Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast with Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today, we have a special guest. This is Andrew. Andrew, you want to do a brief intro on yourself?
Yeah, I'm Andrew Linder from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Live down in the DC area. I love running and just really challenging myself. I kind of got into the journey chasing like mental strength, like trying to get stronger mentally, and then have gotten into this journey of just chasing hard things and running it. And that's how me and Vin ended up meeting.
Absolutely. So we met at the Loopy Looper. You did the 12-hour event, came in third place, crushed it, which is awesome. But I just want to backtrack. What was your like initial goal with running?
Dude, honestly, so I grew up playing football, and then after I was done, I was getting ready to leave for the police academy. And me and my dad were talking, and again, like we come from a very competitive family. We're always like challenging each other in little things. And he was just like, "Hey, man, like you won't run a marathon." We were talking about Goggins, and I'd never ran further than a mile before that. So I was like, "Okay," I signed up for one. Like I think it was like 8 to 10 weeks after the fact. Like we had this conversation, did no training, just showed up and ran a marathon. And that was the first I ever ran. I never, ran further than a mile before. And I kind of fell in love with like that process of wow, like this really sucked. And like that pain after it, that's what really got me hooked onto the whole thing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And what was your to never run or to run a mile and then run a marathon? What was your time?
I ran just under 4 hours, believe it or not. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I
Yeah.
did something similar in 2020 and it was like I didn't know how to train for it. So what I thought was
Yeah.
you need to do crazy like long runs to even get there. So I think it
Mhm.
was like 1 week. I ran like a 16, 17, and then I ran a marathon. I absolutely died. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dude. My training leading up to it was I was like, I'm just gonna start running. And it's funny, there's one day I was running down the shore getting ready for it, and there was some guy who was running, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna look at my watch, I'm just gonna run with this guy. And I ended up running, ended up getting done, and I ended up running 10 and a half miles at like a 6:50 pace. And that moment, things clicked to me where I was like, I'm capable of a lot more than I think I am because I was struggling with 6, 7 miles at like an 8:30 pace. And, kind of like going off what you said is like, you don't really know until like you get into those situations. But that was like one of those like breaking points mentally where I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And you touched on you played college football. What position do you play?
I played a rover position, so we ran, a 3-2-5. Played strong safety, but also was like an outside linebacker, a little bit of stand up defensive end. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that's awesome. Did you have
Yeah.
speed in football? Like, was that always like one of the things that stuck out?
Speed? No, I was always a slow guy, bro. Super
Yeah.
slow. Like people, yeah, yeah. Always like the slower guy. I think I ran my fastest 40 I ever ran was a 4.7, which is very slow when you're talking about a DB and at the college level. And so I was just a guy that, talked a lot of crap while I was out on the field, liked to hit people and just put my nose in the dirt.
That's awesome. And what kind of lessons did you personally learn from like playing college football?
I I don't think I'd be where I'm at today if it wasn't for college football. And it's played such a major part of my life when it comes to the people that I met, my coach, my teammates, you know, first thing is like cool thing about college football is that every year you're going to get around 40 new people that come onto your team, whether it's transfers, whether it's, the freshmen that are coming in, whatever it is. And the coolest thing is like you're all in the locker room. You're spending so much time together, and you get to meet people from all different walks of life. You meet someone who like grew up on a farm with both parents, and then you meet someone maybe from North Philly that maybe has one parent that grew up with their grandparents, or they've never been on a farm, and then it's like so all different backgrounds, all different ethnicities. And that's like one of the coolest things. And I think it's helped me so much in life being able to connect with people and talk to people because every year you're like in this melting pot of 40 new humans that you would never share a room with, let alone spend as much time as you do like playing football together, practice, eating together, in the gym together. And that's one of the coolest things where it was like to be able to listen to other people's story and just be open to hearing other people's perspectives. Football really brought that out of me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just even hearing you talk about that, I related to like my own personal journey and like playing sports growing up. I played baseball my whole life. So like you have the community. And then as you get older, and I went to college, stopped playing baseball, and started lifting. And that's such a solo grind. And then
Yeah.
you find running and you find this community again. Even marathon training is not, it's a solo thing. But I mean, when you get into the ultra stuff, it's just you get that community back. And I think that's what all of our former athletes are kind of searching for.
Yeah, I mean, that has really like clicked. Being able to train for something too, and then being able, like you said, with your community. It's like when you're going through baseball camp, getting ready for the season, you remember all those practices, you remember all the early morning workouts. And it's the same thing with marathon training. If you're going out with your run crew, you're running with the same people every single week, you're building those relationships. And then your race comes up and you're going to hit a PR. It's that same feeling when you're going out there to play baseball or play football and go win a game. And there's so many things that connect with it. So I completely agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's something special about like the endurance stuff and like just being out there for hours and running, anything over a marathon with people that you met that morning or that you've known through Instagram. Like it's just such a crazy way to relate to people.
Yeah, I've been trying to explain it to I was trying to explain it to people
Yeah.
because it's so different from the aspect of playing a baseball, like a team sport, because after the game, you're not really friends with the person on the other team. You're not like you just were competing, you're probably still salty that you lost or whatever. And this is just so much respect for people, like everyone who was out there on race day when we met at the Loopy Looper, we can connect to a different level because we were just willing to go suffer, really like together for 12 for you 24 hours. It's a beautiful thing, man. And just so much respect for everyone who goes out there to that's willing to put their body and their mind through just through the suffering.
It's true. And why do you think you do it? Like what's your why? Like what keeps you going?
Well, when I got back into running, I really wanted to get, better mentally and just like be able to perform in like high stress situations. And I think that the more the more times you can put yourself through really tough times and you like can put yourself in situations you don't want to be in, like those uncomfortable spots, the better you react in those situations, like when, maybe shit hits the fan, right? And like you need to react in a different way. So I was like, okay, well, I was training hard in the gym, but you can always it just wasn't giving me like really what I wanted. And then about 13 months ago, I was, ended up signing up for another marathon and then signed up for another marathon a few weeks later because I really wanted to just test myself. Like, can I do this kind of thing? Right. And then it's just turned into this whole journey of loving that, like each race that I do, I get a little bit better. Right. Like that old version of me dies before the race. And then after the race, it's a whole new version of myself, a better version of myself. And that's really just what I've been chasing. And it's just like, how can I keep upping it? And I just fell in love with the process, man. All the training days too, like the training sucks so bad and a lot of times you get unmotivated because you're doing the same thing, you're eating the same food, it's early in the morning, your body just is broken down. But you remember those days on race day, all those moments show back up on race day.
It's true, man. I mean, putting yourself through controlled adversity gets you ready for life adversity.
Hmm.
And something personally, and I know you relate to it as well. When I was a police officer, like you said, like shit does hit the fan. And I think being able to come in at zero when, you're handling situations that people can't handle themselves, that's why they call you there as a police officer or
Yeah.
any law enforcement.
Yeah.
And just being able to navigate those situations do weirdly get you ready for kind of the mental talk that you're gonna have to battle in these races.
Dude, 100%. And that's, I work in law enforcement still today. And that's really why I wanted to do it was like, okay, how I don't want to be in a gunfight every single day, right? You don't want to be in that. But
Absolutely not.
it's like, how, if that does happen, how can I like be able to respond the best possible way? Like when stuff goes terribly wrong, can I like bring my breathing back into a routine? Can I stay calm? Can I like focus on the things that I need to focus on? And putting yourself through these like really tough times, like a 12-hour endurance race, it shows up when those moments do occur. I truly believe that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then even to touch on what you were saying there too is I was just talking to a buddy about it. Like I would do this stuff if the race day never popped up, just because it makes me a better person. Like I thoroughly enjoy the process.
Yeah, it makes you a better human. Like
Yeah.
I had a like someone's like, dude, why do you go run 10 miles? Like why'd you just go run 10 miles? And like for us, like 10 miles really isn't a lot. But like for people, 10 miles is crazy, right? And I was like, go run 10 miles. I guarantee your gratitude. I guarantee you have a like an amazing day. Everything is heightened. Like I've never ran 10 miles and was like, oh, I'm gonna have a terrible day. No, it's like, dude, I feel great right now. Because I just put my body through something and I got a little bit better. I learned a little bit more about myself. And I'm usually just in an amazing mood. I'll send some like like, hey, bro, thanks for being a great friend. I'll send a ton of text messages out after a long run just because I'm so happy and just so grateful for all the things that I do have. And yeah, until people do it, I guess they don't understand it. But yeah, I don't need a race to continue to run. I'm going to keep running whether there's a race or not.
I totally agree. And if you kind of want to walk through the loopy looper and like your experience with it.
Yeah, man. Wow. So the first I ever ran before that was 26 was a marathon, 26.2 miles. And I came off, running Glass City at the end of April. And then I knew I wanted to run a 50 miler. So I was like, okay, a 12-hour race is good to do that. It was kind of close to home. It was in Pensacola, New Jersey. So I signed up for it. I signed up for it before I even ran the marathon to run sub 3 because I wanted to burn the bridge of not running sub 3. Like that was a goal that I had. I was like, okay, I'm going to run sub 3. And I was like, I already had a race signed up that I couldn't fit another like sub 3 marathon training, right? So I wanted to be all in on that one. So I signed up for this one. Boom. And then I started getting in training and I was talking to my run coach and he was like, hey man, like, what do you think about like going after the course record? It's 75 miles. You'd have to run 78. And I was like, let's send it. Like if you tell me, hey man, you want to do something, I'm in. Like I'm already in. Like let's do it. So we started training for that, and it was fun. We trained. We had like about 11 weeks of training before that, and that's how I got started. And that's how we went into it. And but it didn't go as planned. That's for sure.
None of these things do though, and especially our first ones. Like this is just what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was so obviously I watched a lot of your content. I didn't like obviously I didn't know you showing up. I have met Nick through Instagram. And then it was funny to see afterwards, it was like the whole plan was to break that course record. I loved it. And then obviously I've heard of Gaz and that this is that he's a reigning champ over there.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's just so much fun. And it ends up like we set up our tent and then Gag sets his tent up right in front of us. So it's just like it's just funny how it worked. And like you said, man, things aren't gonna go as planned. And I knew that going into it. I knew like stuff was gonna go wrong. But that's like I was almost like I was like waiting for that to happen, you know? And like I wanted that, I was welcoming that feeling of like damn, this sucks. Like, what the hell is going on? And the race was good. I mean, we couldn't have asked for like a better day for August. It was like 85, I think, at the hottest point of the day. So it's not too bad for August. And just getting to go out there and then end up getting into a race, with Gags and then your boy Greg, man. Like it was just like,
Yeah.
so much fun, dude. So much fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. And something that really sticks out to me in all these races, I just helped a buddy in 100K this past weekend. And it's when you're down and you think you're done and you're able to get up for more. And I know you had a moment. I think even in your video, I'm walking by and I say like, good job, because I didn't know where you guys were at. My head is all over the place because I'm in, I know what I have to go through in this. And I just said like good shit because I knew you crushed it. I had no idea. I knew you guys maybe had a lap left or I didn't know what you were doing. And then I saw in the video that you ended up getting up. So what was that like?
Yeah, that I ended up deteriorating like pretty quickly and I couldn't stop like shitting, bro. Like that's really like what it was. Like mile 40, I just like had to keep going to the bathroom, keep going to the bathroom. And mentally it started to mess with me because I was leading still. Like I was leading still at the point and I'm just like I'm wasting so much time like in the bathroom, like having to go to the bathroom twice a lap, 3 times a lap. And then that second to last lap, my sisters ended up running with me and that's when like I was trying to talk to them and like say stuff and I thought I was saying stuff to them, but they like come back, they're like, he didn't say a single word that was any type of English, like and I'm thinking I'm having like a conversation and I just like wasn't making any sense. And then I got super cold So we got back to the tent, and I just asked for like a blanket and a hoodie to put on, and I started taking liquids. But I knew when I got there, I was like, okay, this is the moment that I was searching for. I didn't know when it was going to come, but I knew this was the moment that I was searching for. And I said, no matter what, I'm getting up out of this chair and I'm running another lap, because it's that moment of like you're down and out, like you don't think you have anything left. To prove to yourself that you do have one more in you is so powerful, man. It's so powerful. And just getting up off of that chair and doing, keeping the commitments you make to yourself, that hey man, you're going to get to this point, you're going to go do one more. um yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
Felt good.
no, absolutely. It's cool to see. And that leads right into a big point. I heard you on one of your buddies' podcasts talking about the best version of yourself. If you kind of want to just go really into like what that means for you, because I lean heavy into that myself.
Yeah, dude. So every day I really try to be the best version of myself. And I don't really care about what I did yesterday. I try to look at like every day as a new day. And I think so many times we people let allow a bad day or a bad moment in their day turn into a bad day. And they let a bad day turn into a bad week, and that's something that I fear. Like, we don't know how much time we have here, and it's like the most precious thing. So it's like, how can we make the most out of it? So, the thing that I do every day is I write like 3 words, like my 3 core values of how I want to live my life. And, those 3 are like compete, love, and respect. Like those are 3 words that I write down each day. And that's how I really like go and strive to be the best version of myself. If I do those 3 things every day, I'll be the best version of myself. And then, part of me is like competing, like putting myself in these hard positions and finding a way out of it, getting in that dogfight and finding a way out of it. I know I grow so much because of it. And, I really am, I'm happier, I'm healthier, um, and I'm just a overall better person. And I feel better about myself because of
Yeah, absolutely. And do you do things outside of fitness that kind of help and really harness those 3 words as well?
it. Yeah, I mean, it's so much deeper than just fitness. Fitness is just like one of those outlets that I love and that I train for. But it's about how you can, because at the end of the day, like, fitness is great, but who are you as a person, when people interact with you? Like you can be like the best athlete and do all these things and have all these accomplishments, but if you don't have anybody to share it with, what is it really for, right? For me, like I have sisters. I want to be the best brother. I want to be the best son that I could be to my parents. My roommates. I want to be, the best friend that they could ask for and be supportive of them. So it's so much deeper than just fitness. But fitness makes me the best version of myself, and it allows me to be great in all these other spots of life.
I totally agree. I think it's same for me. And it's that catalyst of discipline. Like it's something that I've always been able to lean on that I let trickle into other areas that make me better.
Yeah, just like when you brought up about playing college football, right? Like the same things you did playing baseball have definitely led you into like where you're at. Like we just take the traits that we've learned and then we transfer it into different things. Like the things I learned from football got transferred straight into work and straight into running these marathons and the prep and everything else that goes into it, to posting content, to you doing your podcast, right? It's all those like those strong traits and core values that you build that you can just transfer into everything else, right? Just the same things you do in fitness and like that I do in fitness, I strive to do those same things in my relationships with people, in my work. It's all transferable. And I think, that's what some people maybe don't don't see, but it definitely is all transferable.
Absolutely. Man. I think yeah, it comes down to character, and that's why I brought up the like getting up when you feel defeated and when you think the race is over because that's character. That's the athlete is done when he sits down, but the person gets up for those last miles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you want to go into RPM and kind of like your mission with that.
Yeah, so RPM is my training program, my training business that I help people. I found such a deep passion, and I know all the benefits that I got from fitness and the mindset shifts that I've had. So I was, people were always asking me, "Hey man, can you help me out with this or help me out with this when it came fitness wise?" And then I just really got obsessed with seeing people really benefit from it and seeing people grow and be better versions of themselves. So that's when I got into it when I was like, okay, let me start actually training people. Let me start treating this as a business and put a lot of my time and effort into it. So, we started focusing on people being hybrid athletes. That's something I'm big on, being strong in the gym and also being able to run miles, like being a functional person. And we've helped people lose weight who wanted to run a marathon and done, a bunch of things with different clients, which is awesome. But overall, just changing their habits and their ways after they're done working with me is one of the greatest feelings. Seeing that they're happier, they're healthier, they look better, their family likes them more because they're not in a bad mood all the time because they're not in shape and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun seeing people then go PR in their races. People who have ran marathons before that have come to me, then they go hit a PR. It's a great sense of accomplishment that I feel from it, knowing that I'm helping people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely helps you build the community as well.
Yeah.
What are your biggest tips to people that come to you for 2 RPM basically and ask for your assistance?
The biggest thing is discipline, right? I can give you the plan. I can give you everything. You know this, man. Like you can get everything that you could ask for. If you're not going to do it, there's nothing I can help you with, you know? And you also have to realize like we got to take the small wins, right? You're going to have bad days. It's going to happen. Let's say we're going through a 16-week training program. You're going to have a bad day. It's going to happen. You're going to have a bad lift, you know, mentally you might just have a bad day. It's okay. Like, but we don't, every day is a new day and we treat it exactly like that. The biggest thing I would say though is discipline. If you're willing to work and you're willing to continue to, stay true to the plan and not think that you're just going to shed 20 pounds and run a 6-minute mile the next week, we can be all right. We can work together.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And lastly, what's some advice you would give to a younger version of yourself?
Wow. I got asked this question the other day, and I really think it's just to dream bigger. I think that growing up, you're kind of thinking of like the people that and if you don't know a millionaire, you don't really think it's possible. And if you don't know someone who's ran a marathon, maybe you don't think it's possible, like at a smaller sense. And I think that was really me for a long time. I was like, well, maybe I can, make $100,000 or like whatever those paradigms were when growing up. And dude, you can be and do whatever you want. You just got to put the work in. And that's the biggest thing I would tell the younger version of myself is dream bigger, man. Like, and you can really do whatever you want here. Just put in the work and you'll get there.
Really like that. And I think it's so true too. And I feel like it just goes also back to community where it's like if you could find the people doing the things, and you don't have to be the best friend, but even if you could just somewhat pull some things from them and learn a little bit from them. Like, for example, I know you met Dan, and in December, I was only running marathons, and I saw Dan run a 100-mile ultra, and I paced him for like 34 miles through the woods of North Carolina. And I was like, fuck, like I could actually run 100 miles. Like I just watched someone do it. It makes it
Yeah.
real. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's the biggest. Sometimes people just need to see it.
Yeah.
People just need
So
to see
true.
it.
But I really, really appreciate the time, man.
No, thank you so much, man. Hopefully I was able to help some people out and I appreciate you for having me, man. Thank you for your
Of
time.
course. Thank you, brother.